Hey, what's up, guys? Jacob here from Mindful Liberation, and I just want to answer a question that I received on my blog, which is anxietystation.tumblr.com, and it's a question that I felt really relates a lot to me, and I really want to make this person feel like that they're not alone. And if you definitely relate to any of these problems, then um, yeah, definitely know that you're not alone. I understand it, I completely get it because it happens to me also. Without any further ado, I'll just read the question out. So here we go. I think I've started having panic attacks, but they're not the way others describe them. I just out of nowhere have trouble keeping my heart rate down and I feel sick to my stomach. But it's never like blackout bad or super obvious to others, and I'm not sure if this is a panic attack or not. Normal. Does it have to be like hysterics or blacking out or being unable to do work to be considered a panic attack? Because I can usually just push through it, but it takes a long time to calm down. Thanks. Well, thank you for asking me the question. Um, yeah, I relate to this quite a lot. Oh, geez, sun's in my eyes. I relate to this quite a lot. Yeah, I have trouble like keeping my heart rate down quite often during my day-to-day routines. Um, in terms of, I work daily, and 5 days a week, and I also feel sick to my stomach. I would really like to firstly answer this question by kind of talking about or discussing about where is that line? What's that line between what you consider being a panic attack and what you consider to be something that's medically wrong with you? Okay, and I would say that to define that line, whether you're having a panic attack or not, is to is that when you are in a panic attack, okay, you don't even know you're having one because there's no awareness of um, or no rational thoughts that are going through your mind. You feel like you're going to die. You feel like that this is the last minute on earth. And paradoxically speaking, that's how you know you're having a panic attack, by not knowing you're having one. I definitely recommend you just go see a doctor just to get those things checked out and ruled out. And of course, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with you, but it's just to give you that peace of mind so then you can start working on your anxiety a little bit, a little bit better. The thing I'd like to say here with, your symptoms of, high heart rate and those sorts of things, and feeling nauseous, I do relate. Um, and the thing is that I would say that you're really just going through a highly anxious state. I'm not saying that you're having a panic attack necessarily, but I'd say that you're going through a very highly anxious episode, and so you do have that kind of sense of, is this a panic attack or not? Well, if you're questioning that, you're not in the midst of a panic attack. Let me remind you that a panic attack is a very intense feeling. It is a very intense episode of fear, like you're going to die, and it lasts for about 10 to 15 minutes. It's very acute. It could last longer, it could last shorter, depending on the individual. But yeah, you're definitely, I think, not experiencing a panic attack if you have some kind of, rationality, like kind of thinking, is this a panic attack or not? You're probably just going through a highly anxious state. I'd call it a teetering over the edge. Like, you're teetering over the edge of a panic attack. You're, having a highly anxious episode, which is probably about to get into panic if you don't do anything to calm yourself down, or give yourself some time and some space to kind of rationalize why you're feeling these feelings. Now let's go into the next kind of segment of my explanation. So we want to rationalize, right? So I'm leading into rationalization now. Okay, so let's try to rationalize why you're feeling this way. I think that you're feeling this way because something is stressing you out. There's some kind of stressor in your life that's causing you to have this higher heart rate and this nauseating feeling. Um, and it doesn't matter how bad that stress is. So, it can be as mild as probably not really knowing your direction in life. It could be just even if it's any kind of mild stress um, that you're kind of going through. If something is not in alignment in your life, if something feels like if there's some kind of missing piece to the puzzle that you can't quite figure out, then yeah, I would say that that is going to be stressing you out. It is a cause of stress because, let's face it, okay, human beings, we only have some limited amount of willpower, okay? And and when we are living a life that's not fully in alignment of what makes us happy, what makes us feel fulfilled and purposeful, it's going to require a lot of willpower and a lot of energy that is being expended in order to meet the demands of the task that you are trying to perform, the task that you don't really want to perform, but you're performing anyways. And for example, I relate to this a lot in terms of my work life. Okay, the work that I do, working in a call center, it's very repetitive. Can get very boring, quite monotonous, but also it's a stress because it requires willpower. Let me bring it this way. Let's talk about it from the other end of the stick. When was the last time you truly felt like you're in a flow state? Like when was the last time you truly felt like you were in the flow, so to speak? And what I'm talking about flow state is when you are willingly taking action on a task that you lose all sense of time, body, and space, and you feel like that once you're in that flow state, you can really maximize the amount of work you can do in that task with very very little expenditure of energy, and doesn't require as willpower, because let's face it, if we're doing something that we truly enjoy doing, that we truly like to do, um, willpower isn't an issue because it's something that you willingly enjoy doing. Um, and so there's very little expenditure of energy involved, and so you can it's going to do the opposite of stress to you. It's going to be the opposite of a stressor, um, and your body doesn't have to go into some kind of fight or flighty kind of sequence in order to meet the demands of the task you're doing. And so, think about when you're in flow state. Okay, I get into flow state when I meditate. So last night when I was meditating, I felt right in the flow. So, in the sense that I lost sense of time, really, like mainly sense of time. I was quite focused on my body, but I was willingly focused on my body and the groundedness that attached me to the ground, to the earth. And it was that experiencing the nothingness, and experiencing that void of the nothingness, and it was like an incredibly peaceful feeling and very enlightening. And you can willingly put yourself into flow just by simply meditating, even though it might be very hard to do at first, but you have to really, really make a start and get into it. It gets easier the more you make it a habit and a discipline. Well, it's a discipline at first, but then it turns into a habit. That's like the same for as going to the gym, for example. It starts as a discipline, but then eventually can turn into a habit. So, those are my ideas at this stage. With your high heart rate and the nauseating feeling, you did also mention, does it have to get to like blackout bad, or like you feel like you're blacking out or passing out? Well, if it's to be considered a panic attack, well, yes. Yes, I think that there are many, many cases, I've experienced this myself, that yes, if you are feeling like you're blacking out or what have you, it's just like this faint kind of feeling you get. Yeah, I feel that when I'm having a panic attack, but it doesn't necessarily define a panic attack in itself. Everyone's an individual and they experience their own sort of things when they're having a panic attack. But just remember that a panic attack is a very, very frightening episode of fear, and it makes you feel like you're going to die. Your brain literally the area of your brain that controls like your emotional responses like fear hijacks your brain, and you end up forgetting about the experiences that every single other time you've been in a panic attack, because your amygdala is going off, sending alarm bells in your mind, and you're flooded with fight or flight reaction. Your neocortex is still trying to process what's happening. It hasn't fully come to a conclusion yet. Your neocortex, the logical thinking, higher part of your brain, is still working things out. It hasn't had the time, and that's why there isn't any rationality involved when you're having a panic attack. It's very irrational. But when you're going through a highly anxious episode with the high heart rate and the nauseating feeling, and you're aware of these feelings and you can question them, then I'd say you're just kind of teetering over the edge, and you need to start putting into practice some techniques, or making some changes in your life to really handle these highly anxious episodes, whether that be cutting back on alcohol, whether that be taking your medication, whether that be meditating, whether that be improving your nutrition. You're doing all these things, but don't look at doing all these things as kind of like a superficial kind of thing to do. Really do it to change the structure of your life, to change the structure of the way you live your life. And so, in closing out, the main thing that I'd like to summarize in this video is that I think what you're really dealing with here is an expenditure of energy, a requirement of willpower, in terms of even if your life isn't in alignment right now, if you're trying to just cope with life, if you're just trying to cope with different things, then yeah, there's willpower involved. And your body, it literally, like, we think about fight or flight as like an acute response to a sudden stress. But even if it's just a mild stress, your body reacts in that exact same way. And so it's like a chronic feeling of anxiety. The stress hormones that are going through your body, adrenaline and cortisol, are still circulating around and causing those nasty sensations. And you have to be very, very aware of it and start becoming very aware of how the things you choose to do in your life is affecting you. Maybe you have a sour relationship, maybe you have anxiety about that. Maybe you need to improve your relationship kind of goals. Who knows what you need to do? But I can't answer that for you because I'm not you. But I hope this provides some kind of clarity as to why you're experiencing what you're experiencing. What I do to get out of this kind of high heart rate kind of thing is I accept the feelings, and I just continue on with my day. And I give myself space. I think that's very important. You need to give yourself some time and some space to really recognize these feelings, understanding where they come from, and looking at it from an approach of an observer approach, and not being so involved with the sensations, not letting the sensations dictate how you carry out your day. Okay, so yeah, thought I'd give you a little bit of insight there, and really just become the observer of your mind, become the observer of your body, and look at your body like a curious scientist. If you see if you feel a feeling that is very uncomfortable, recognize it, and just watch it happen, as hard as that may seem at first. You really want to start accepting these things first before you can make a step forward in making some fundamental changes. So anyways, guys, this is Jacob from Mindful Liberation, and I am just out at the nearby lake around near my house. I think it's pretty cool place. I always wear my sunglasses, that's the thing. I don't know, sunglasses make me feel more in tune. Anyway, so I'm just going to check this place out, and I hope you've enjoyed the clips throughout this video, the shots that I've been taking. I was at another nearby place, but that I took some shots at, and I was hanging out with a good friend of mine, talking about a lot of things about like society and what have you, which is really, I know we touched on a lot of like different subjects about way society's structured and getting into this analytical mindset. You don't really want to do that. You don't want to get too analytical, and that's something that happens to me quite often too. But it's just the way we are. It's just the way we were kind of made, I guess. All right, catch you guys. Peace out.